Hey guys, my name is Schulte. I am here with NCBOLD today, telling you a little bit more about Jurassic Spark. So we're going to be unearthing some engaging review strategies that you can use in your classroom. Before we get started today, this session does have a little note-taking sheet for you that is in the backpack. Again, some of my favorite reflections that I can use as exit tickets in my classroom. If you would like to type in this, or if you would like to print and kind of write as we go, this is the note reflection sheet that I refer to throughout the presentation, and that will be linked for you in the NC Bold backpack. All right, today we're getting started with Jurassic Spark. So, some different engaging strategies that you can use in your classroom, particularly for teaching vocab. Um, as always, we're aligning to our new digital learning competencies, and these digital learning competencies align with the ISTE standard for educators. In particular, for educators, we are looking at the learner, designer, and analyst standards from ISTE. Now, as far as the content standards, I am a high school biology teacher, so the games and the strategies that we use here in this classroom are going to be centered around those biology content standards. However, you can use your content standards. They plug in just as easily whether you teach kindergarten, art, PE, all the way up to adults. Every single thing that we're doing today, you can adapt for your classroom very, very easily. Um, so here I am in my dinosaur era. My name is Schulte. I am a 24-25 Keenan Fellow, as well as the 2023 Burroughs Welcome Fund Northeast Regional Teacher of the Year. I'm a mom to two amazing boys, Noah, who is 8, and Henry, who is 5, both who attend public school in North Carolina. My entire family is a product of public schools in North Carolina. I grew up in Bath, North Carolina. I went to North Carolina State University, um, where I was a double major in biology and science education. I have a master's degree in science education as well. Um, and this is my 13th year of teaching. Again, most of that has been at the high school level with biology, but I do have some middle school experience as well. Um, one of the things, and this is my lovely family, my husband Adam, also a product of public schools. But that top picture there, that is a picture of me on my naming day for Burroughs Welcome 2023 toy, Northeast Regional Toy. And I want to shout out all of the amazing women in that photo. Each of them was my K through 8 teachers. They're all in that picture. And the reason I share that photo is because as educators, I think sometimes we forget about how powerful we are, but um, every single one of those women had a hand in making me the educator that I am today. And of course, there's many teachers that I had that are not in that photo, but don't forget how powerful you are as an educator. All right, the first thing that we're going to do today is it's the circle of life. Um, so on the middle of your table there are some circle sheets. You are going to grab one of those circle sheets. Grab your favorite writing utensil or markers or whatever you have, and I'm going to give you 3 minutes for you to turn as many circles as you can into recognizable objects. Okay. So turn as many of those circles as you can into recognizable objects, and bonus points for thinking outside of the circle. All right, obviously, I'm not going to give you 3 minutes to do that since we're here online, but this is a great way for you to get your students in the groove, focused for the day. Now, obviously, you can be a little bit more specific. So in class, I might say, hey, use 30 circles to represent the last unit that we did or the last lesson that we did, right? So something that represents ecology or organelles in a cell. So to really get those students focused, it's drawing. We can use it kind of as a brain break for a transition activity. So all of that is an opportunity that you can use. And what a great picture, great kiss from Manoa there as he comes in. Um, Shout out to moms who are educators. All right, and dads too. So if you're also in your dinosaur era with me, congratulations. We've already made it through the introduction. We've done our 30 circle challenge and we've met me, your paleontologist partner. Um, a couple of the things that we're going to do today, each of these eras are going to have different strategies that you can use in your classroom tomorrow. So whether we're playing spoons, whether we're playing Tapple, whether we're playing Hungry Hungry Hippos, make these strategies work for you and what works in your classroom. All right, our Precambrian era, we're going to be using spoons as a review strategy. Now, I'm sure there are lots of different ways that people have played spoons, but how we're going to play is a little bit different than how we play the actual game. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to split your class into groups of 4, and then players are going to sit in a circle with um, 3 spoons in the middle. On your tables, you have some cards. You're going to shuffle those cards and you're going to evenly distribute 4 cards to each player. Okay, now obviously, if in your groups of 4, there's 4 cards in each, so we have 16 cards in the middle of the table. And the first time we play, like as a class, I always start with 16 cards and in groups of 4. So each player, how you play spoons is everybody picks up their cards. You don't show the other your other teammates what you have, but what you are doing is you are looking for 4 cards that match. Now, when we play this with cards, it would be like a 4 of clubs, a 4 of spades, a 4 of diamonds, and a 4 of hearts, right? But here it's a little bit different because they are not identical cards. So, for example, um, some of you might have a picture of a plant, okay? The word producer, okay? You might have a word called photosynthesis, and then you might have the definition of producer there. So you are looking to match for kind of topics. So it's not as straightforward as like 4 identical cards, okay? Um, so what you'll do is you'll look at your cards, all right? And the person who is to the right of the dealer can go first. When a player, when you look at your cards, and you decide which card you want to get rid of. Okay, so let's say I have a card that just doesn't fit with my other 3, so I'm going to pass it to the player to the left. All right, my player to the left takes a look at the new cards that I just got, and they decide which card they want to discard. Okay, so unlike the real games of the real game of spoons, there's no discard pile. You are just passing the cards between player to player to player, and you can only have 4 cards at a time. Once you think you have a match, you sneakily take a spoon from the middle of the table, and then everybody else has to grab a spoon, right? Well, one player will be left without a spoon. So the player without a spoon will tell the player who first grabbed the spoons to prove what they have. And so they'll have to show their cards. And so um, the table talks about it. Are those 4 cards a match? If they are, um, we reshuffle the cards and we start again. If they're not, we continue to play the game. Okay, because we're trying to find 4 cards. They're not the same card, but they all have to deal with each other. So this could be like if maybe we're doing shapes with littles or numbers. This might be the number 3. Okay, it might be 3 triangles on one of the cards. It might be 3 ducks. It might be the word 3 spelled out on the table or on the card. So again, the cards don't have to be an exact match. They just have to be related. Um, Now, let's say that a player, the cards were correct. Okay, the player proved it. The person who got this, who did not receive the spoon, they are stuck with an S. Okay, once you spelled out the word spoons, the game is over and they essentially lose. But normally, the game starts running pretty quickly, and I don't have kiddos who ever really spell out the word spoons. Now, the first time you want to play this, you want to just start out with 16 cards until they get used to it. Um, Once they've gotten used to it, you can modify it to fit the needs of your kiddos. So they might can have a discard pile. Um, they might have a draw pile. Totally up to you. But make this work for your kiddos. The first couple of times we've played, I've only played with 16 cards, again, until they get used to it. You can play with 3. You just will have to deal out a couple of more cards. Or you could have a discard pile as well. Again, how do you set up for class? You've got 4 players, you need 3 spoons, and 16 cards for the same cards that match. Again, they don't have to be an exact match. Now, some people can use more cards when they play spoons, so you could have a dealer stack or a discard stack. This keeps the game from like lasting too long. But because there's only 16 cards, that's just enough for each player to have 4 apiece. Again, the main difference between this version of spoons and like the original versions of spoons is that the cards are not an exact match. So they might be the same word, a number, a phrase, totally up to you. Again, modify this for your needs. You can start with 16 cards, add more cards as your students get used to the game, change up the number of people in your group. Just make sure you have cards in multiples of 4. So that way they can match the cards from there. And again, modify it for your grade and content level. So maybe you use pictures, maybe you use math equations. Do what works for you and your kiddos in your classroom. Now, obviously, if we were doing this live, we would actually play the game of spoons. But since we're online, if you have questions, just reach out to me. Now, our next activity that we would do if we were in person is we were going to play the game of Tapple. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Tapple, but this is a picture of it right here. Here's one of my kiddos, and they're playing Tapple. And what Tapple is, it's a timing device with all of the letters on the alphabet on the outside. And then you choose a category card. And you have to say, like, let's say the category was fruits. Okay. I start the timer. I say A, apple. All right. I press the timer. It goes to the next person. That person says B, banana. Okay. And I have to try it. We go around. We keep hitting the timer to reset the timer. And I try and name a fruit that starts with a letter of the alphabet. I can only use the letters that have not been pressed down. So if you look here in this picture, the C and D have not been pressed down. So I couldn't say like cantaloupe, okay? I would have to choose a different letter. So I might choose banana. Now here's the thing. Obviously, this gets a little bit harder when you make this content level. We're not playing types of fruit in biology. We might play differences in prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, okay? So I might have to say, you know, asexual reproduction or cell membrane or whatever. Okay. So, but make this content level specific. I use this just as a quick, hey, we're doing a quick review here just to get this vocabulary back up. We're using this vocabulary, we're thinking about differences, and it's super fun for the kiddos. Again, this is how you play Tapple. So you start the round, I announce the category. So again, like types of organelles, or the differences in the 7 kingdoms, right? Or maybe this is the plot in a book. Or characters in a story, right? So whatever you're doing, then you start the timer, and the kids take turns going round and round and round. And again, we just play this for a couple of minutes. I use it as a brain break. I use it as a way for them to review quickly what we've talked about maybe from the day before, or as a quick exit ticket. It's fun. It's easy. Now, how could you modify this if you don't want to purchase the game of Tapple? Um, All you need is a timer that they can reset, or you can put a timer up on the board. And then you could use cards um, with a letter of the alphabet on, and they can turn them over. Okay, so it's just a little bit different. You don't have the tapple wheel that you just press over and over again, and it's just a certain amount of time that they can come up with. Um, and again, when a player is limit it, you can in with the tackle game, you have 10 seconds for before you get the buzzer. If you can't name an answer during that time, or if you fail to come up with an acceptable answer, um, you can be eliminated. But again, this game normally moves pretty quickly, so the kiddos don't have to sit out really for a long time. Again, I use this as a quick transition activity, so nobody's really sitting there longer than a minute or two, but they're still listening, and they can still play as a judge. Um, again, modify for your classroom, make it work for you. If we were here online, we would actually play Tapple. But again, if you have any questions, please reach out and I'm happy to help you. The next thing that we're going to play today is vocab pyramid. Now, I've seen lots of different variations of vocab pyramid or $25,000 pyramid. But what we're going to do and what I'm going to ask is if you get in partners, okay? And then decide who is partner A and who is partner B. Okay? If you are partner A, you are giving the clues. If you are partner B, you're going to turn your back to the board and you are going to try and guess what the word is in the pyramid um, without looking at the pyramid. Now, partner A, you cannot say things like rhymes with or starts with. Okay, you have to give them clues. Okay, or sounds like. Okay, opposite. You've got to give them clues. You can tell them this is 2 words, this is 3 words. Um, you can say that, but again, you can't use like rhymes with. All right, so again, what you're going to do, partner A, you're going to be giving the clues. Partner B, you're going to try to be guessing. If you come up with something that's too hard, you get stuck, just say pass. You can come back to it later. All right, partner B, back to the board. Partner A, you are looking at the clues. All right. So obviously, I would give you a certain amount of time for you to go through, and you're giving the clues here if you are partner A, and partner B is trying to guess those clues. Then, after that certain amount of time, you ask them to switch roles. Okay. Now, partner A, this time you're going to be guessing. Partner B, you're going to be giving the clues. Same rules apply, right? And so we've got a different set of words here. Now, for the sake of playing this game, I played with food. Obviously, I'm not a foods teacher. Okay, we're not using food in biology class, but again, I can change this out. Maybe this is my math vocabulary for the day. Maybe this is um, my biology words, from review, right? It doesn't matter. These words can be anything that's related to your content. With littles, I mean, if you're doing shapes or you're doing numbers, um, you can put that in there as well. It's just getting them used to the vocabulary. And again, it's fun, it's fast, it's easy. Now, I've seen lots of different variations of this, so you can make this more interactive. This was very straightforward, right? All I had to do was go in and create a slide with this pyramid on it and put the words in. Super simple, super easy. If I want to make it more game like, I can literally set up a Google Slides. I can animate this so oatmeal spins around as you guess it and all of the things. But if I want to play really quick, really fast, really easy, this is how I do it. Again, I can make it more interactive depending on what we want to do. And if we're in, if my classroom's kind of set up in a station, things where kids are individually able to click through. Again, modify this for your classroom. Make the slides more interactive, differentiate or give different pyramids to different groups of students. So I might actually say, hey, you're partner A today, or hey, you're partner B. You don't know that I have different words for different kiddos, right? Or maybe we're playing in a group and you're A and you're B and you're C and you're D, and like again, differentiate to help your students. This is a great way for your students to build up to more difficult vocabulary words, and you're able to differentiate for your kiddos. All right. So you're able to push the kiddos who need a little bit of pushing. You're able to support those kiddos who need that little bit of extra support. Also, a little bit of extra time. Like if you put all of your kiddos, maybe your group A kids need a little bit of extra time, add 15 extra seconds. Nobody's going to notice. Um, just put it in there. Make it work for you and your kiddos. All right, if we were in class, we would get a second for a little turn and talk. So if you roll a dice, if you get an even number, how can you use either Tabble or vocab pyramid in your classroom? If you roll an odd number, how do you review vocabulary in your classroom? Do you have a strategy that you want to share? I would love to hear some great ways that you're reviewing vocabulary in your classroom. So I would give us some time to do that. Again, dice in the classroom. Love it, love it, love it. It's easy. Go to the $1.25 tree, get those dice. They're big foam dice. That way they don't make all that dicey sound as you throw them around the table, or you could do virtual dice. Totally up to you. All right, we're in our Mesozoic period, which is hungry, hungry hippos. All right. Now, how we play Hungry Hungry Hippos. I have a question bank here for you. All right, so this is our round one. Name that organelle. Okay. All right. So round one, name that organelle. And we are actually going to play Hungry Hungry Hippos here in class. But what you do is you split your class into even teams. Okay. And each kiddo is going to take a chance at answering each of the rounds. So you can have them work as a team. You can have them work individually. That's totally up to you, but you're going to split your class into even teams. All right. And then what you'll do is they'll go through round one, and you will have the questions up on the board, and they get a chance to either answer them as a team or they can answer them individually, however it works for you. However you want to do it for your kiddos. But will be round one. So I would display all of these answers. I would read them to the kids and I would give them a couple of minutes to answer these questions. We're doing this on whiteboards. All right. So they're going to number down their whiteboards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they would put the answers beside them. All right, for every correct answer that they get. So let's say I've given them 2 or 3 minutes to answer the question, and then I'll have them show me the answers. For every question they get right, they get to choose a ball out of the hippo pool. All right, so let's say team one. All right, so we're going to click to reveal the answers. Okay, here's our correct answers. All right, so team one gets three balls right. Okay, so here's my team one. All right, so they pick 3. Okay, so they got 10, 1, and 1. So I just come up here. Whoops. And sorry. Oops. So I would come up here to my hippo.